Hiram High School. Today's topic, completing the square. Now, I want you to remember, back when we talked about the square root property, we said we could take something, if I had something squared on this side of the equal sign, I could take the square root of the other side. So I could take the plus or minus square root of 16, which would give me the plus or minus of 4. Okay, this is the property. What we're going to do is we're going to make it happen. We're going to make the square root property happen so that I can use the square root property and get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the left side of my equal sign become a perfect square. Now, you're like, yeah, right, Mrs. Peters. Sure we are. What you're going to have to do is memorize a process. It's not that difficult. All right, you're just going to have, like I said, memorize the process. So let's look at one. X squared minus 11x plus 30 equals 0. Now, we are going to, the first step is to remove the 30 to the other side of the equal sign. So, with that said, I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. And what I get left, when I do that, is x squared minus 11x equals negative 30. Now, this next step is magic. Okay, you guys will be allowed to do magic. What we're going to do is we are going to add something squared here. And what we do to one side of an equation, we do to the other side of the equation to keep things in balance. Now you go, gosh, Mrs. Peters, what are you going to add? What's going in that blank? Well, what's going in that blank is b over 2. And you go, what's b? Well, guess what? Here's b right here in our quadratic. I'm talking about that same b. So what we're going to stick in here is 11 over 2. We're going to stick it in over here too. 11 over 2. Now, here comes the true magic. Remember, I promised you we're going to make magic happen, and we want to use the square root property. So here's what you have to remember to do. You have to take one of those, one of these, because they're both squared, and the sign from in front of b. And you get x minus 11 over 2. Quit freaking out about the fractions. It's not that big of a deal. We'll deal with it. You have a calculator that does that. Now, on the other side of the equal sign, you're going to type in to your calculator, you're going to type in exactly, and I do mean with the parentheses and the little squaring, you're going to type that into your calculator absolutely exactly like that, and you will find out that you get 1/4. Okay, sometimes it'll turn into a whole number, sometimes it won't, but you know, we got calculators. They do fractions for us. So now I am going to take the square root of the other side. So what we actually have here, okay, is x minus 11 over 2 squared equals 1 over 4. Take the square root of the right-hand side. I get x minus 11 over 2 equals plus or minus square root of 1/4. Guys, type it in your calculator. It's not that scary. You can do it. All right, now that means I have x minus 11 over 2 equals plus or minus 1/2. It won't always turn out nice. Sometimes it might be you might get syntax error, or you get domain error. If you get domain error, you got a negative underneath the radical, and you got to go deal with that complex number of I. Now, at this point, we have 2 solutions, and we need to write them out. I have x minus 11 over 2 equals negative 1/2, or I have x minus 11 over 2 equals positive 1/2. Now let's solve them. Okay, we are going to add 11 over 2 on both sides. Calculators can do this with you guys. X is going to equal 10 over 2, which simplifies to 5. Okay, now on this other one, add 11 over 2. to both sides, what are you going to get? You're going to get x equals 12 over 2, which just happens to be 6. So my two solutions here, and my solutions are x equaling 5 or x equals 6. Like I said, we are making magic happen. You've got to remember a process, and this area right here is the part that's going to scare you, but don't get scared. Just try one. All right? You're setting yourself up to use the square root property. I know y'all can do this. Don't worry about it. I'm here with you. Write your questions down, and we will work on it in class. See you then. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.